Stretch. Stretch! Hi, Rob. I did not hear. I did not. Oh, hi, Rob, you know. All right, welcome, everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for Haikyuu, episode 22.
We are maybe going to get through the second set of Karasuno How Much Side this episode.
Yeah, and this match has been all hype.
Oh, yeah.
This match has been pure, just liquid hype.
Yep.
It's like, give me another injection of that. It's just so good.
Well, Kageyama's about to come back into the game.
Kageyama's back into the game.
So
Suga
that
did his job.
Happen.
He rallied the troops.
Yep, and now we got a showdown of teams, not of setters.
Yes, that's a very good point. Kageyama has constantly cycled through this lesson and evolved a little bit every time he goes over the lesson. And I like that this one needed some actual consequences of him being taken off the court.
Exactly, right.
Because it gets him to reevaluate where he's at internally with his mental state, but also his the choices he's making on the court.
Right, because people do not change overnight.
Yep.
It just doesn't happen.
It really doesn't happen.
Regress
Especially when you're young like this.
Oh, yeah.
You really haven't solidified a lot of your behaviors and your structure internally to where you have no idea who you are. So a lot of that is good because then you can grow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which we will see this episode.
Yeah, we will. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Yes. That's even more terrifying.
And Noya's actually excited about that. He's like trying to smile.
It's so beautiful. I mean,
Dad G is so proud of his son.
Yes, the fist bump.
Okay. All right. I love the drum roll, just building everything up on the snare. And oh yeah!
Okay, so you know how a lot of times shows will use the opening as a way to hype up a part in the show?
Yeah. Oh yeah!
What if Haikyu did that at some point during like an awesome match where they played this in the background and right
like
as
all the
final
teammates of
point
Karasuno
comes
were
in,
like, yeah!
Yeah, well, basically, and that
Okay.
happens, like, they do that as like the final point is scored or something like that.
Okay.
And I think that would be,
That'd be
amazing.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
He looks so excited.
It wouldn't make sense for Kageyama to do it, but is he gonna do it?
Oh, he's gonna go for it.
He's gonna go for it.
Whoa! Oh! Yes! Oh shoot!
Yeah! I was hoping
from the libero. He hit their libero. You're supposed to receive it back. Yeah.
That was so awesome. Tanaka couldn't like scream or something.
Yeah, they just had to send it back.
Yeah.
Dance ball.
Right.
Okay.
They just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? What? What is that?
落ち着いて焦ってこっちが崩れてやる必要はないよ
Oh, nice receive. Yeah, there it goes.
Now, since they're showing the signals, does that mean they're gonna start like figuring it out?
影山は日向に俺がいればお前は最強だって言ったけどお前だって
Oh! Wow!
日向との攻撃なら
Oh my god!
最強なんだ一方日向ナイスレッドイン
Ooh.
チャンスボールバツナイスカバー影山
It ended up working out for
Yeah.
them. Yeah, yeah, because
Yep.
the other team touched it.
正常もタイムか
多分トビオはカラスノのスパイカーの中で一番あのノッポくんを上手に使える。
The giant.
やっぱお前とは友達になりたくねえな。
なんで
弱みとか握られそうじゃん。
チームメイトの弱み握ってどうすんのさ。
まずは会話だ、会話。
Yep.
特に月島には真っ向コミュニケーションだぞ。
Yeah. Could this be the start of his development?
Possibly.
Nice serve.
拾った。カウンター来るぞ。
なんかいずそうな打ち方だな、月島。
Nope.
今のトスはどうでしたか。
How was that toss, damn it?
wow.
なんで田中さん口調なの。
なんですかこれ。
Who's that, damn it?
黙ってこのトスを打て庶民と言われてるみたいで腹立つ。
Oh.
どういう意味だ。
No, that's a good response.
Yep.
こっちにもやり方があるからトスは一定にしてほしい。
影山は当然決まりやすいと思った方に打たそうとして、でも月島はそれが打ちづらいってことなんじゃねえかな。
Well, he's a first year.
考えてるのは君だけじゃない。相手の守備の形、自分が今日よく決まってる攻撃、み
Yeah.
んな何かしら考えてる。分かった。ずいぶん素直だね今日。
What's wrong?
You feeling okay?
やってみないと分かんねえし。
Awesome. Awesome. This is Tsukishima's face. He has his
They're all
first dirt
just so
face.
surprised.
No, that's his first dirt face. I don't think he's ever done one before. Oh! Tsukishima!
No way!
Oh! Well played!
That totally makes sense with his personality too, and how tall
And
he
he's so
is.
tall, yeah.
チャンスボール。
Okay, nice D.
またフェイント。
Oh! Nice! Nice, Asahi! Keeps doing it.
今度は拾える。ナイスレシーブ渡り。オーライセンター。
But one of these times.
Oh! Tanaka, well
Good
played!
job.
みんな何かしら考えてる。
また11番。行く。出過ぎるな。
And then he hits it. Yeah!
Yep.
Nice!
Yes.
Nice!
ナフス。
Nice, nice, nice.
ここを噛む影山。
Wow, nice, nice.
影山も
Oh,
確実に変わってきてる。
this is so
褒め
beautiful.
るのどんだけ下手なんだ。
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I knew it. I knew
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I knew it.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's
Okay, wouldn't that be awesome if Tsukishima jumped high enough to stop it?
及川徹は基本的にヘラヘラしている男だ。でもそいつが笑わない時期があった。街道牛若を迎えて県内最強と言われるようになった。
oh.
白鳥沢学園中等。
That's the guy. That's the guy that ends up being like the third best in the nation.
Yep.
1セットすら取れなかった。
Whoa.
もっと
Building up Shiratorizawa even
もっと
more.
高い舞台。
And this is why Oikawa is so like
阻まれ続けて
obsessive with his
中学3
you know,
Yeah.
just practicing and everything.
秋山賞出身影山飛雄です。バレエは小児からです。
Oh, look at the little
よろしくお願いします。
baby.
及川はそれまで以上に練習に打ち込
Oh,
む。
because he didn't want to get surpassed.
Wow.
オーバーワークだぞ。昨日も監督に注意されたろうが。
その焦りは練習試合で今までにありえない回数のコンビミスとなって現れた。そして
He got sat.
影山入ってみる。
Kageyama
はい
was put on. Yep.
OK です。
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
オーライ。
Yeah.
来るな。こっちに来るな。今日の交代はおめえの頭を冷やすためだろうがよ。
But apparently it
ちょっ
didn't
とは余
work.
裕持て。
Yeah.
俺は勝って全国に行きたいんだ。
Oh,
勝つために
wow.
俺はもっと。俺がって。
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
てめえ一人で戦ってるつもりか。牛若に勝てるやつなんてうち
Oh,
には
this
い
is
ねえ。
great.
Exactly.
けどバレーはコートに6人だべや。
Yep.
相手が天才1年だろうが牛若だろうが6人で強い方が強いんだろうが、
Yeah.
ボケが
Uh-huh.
がぜん無敵な気分っていうか岩ちゃん悪口ボケしか言えないの？右からも鼻血出してやるか。
及川さん、サーブトスのコツを。
嫌だねバカバカ。及川1年に絡むんじゃねえ。中学最後の大会対白鳥沢中等部
Oh, wow.
初めて1セットを取った。
Nice.
白鳥沢に次いで2位。高校行ったら今度こそ白鳥沢へこましてやる。お前がこの先どう進むのか知らないけどいつか戦う時はぶっ潰してやるから覚悟してなよ。決め台詞は鼻かんでから言えよ。
ティッシュ使いますか？
うるさい。
Wow. Oh! Is this?
けど直接
Yeah,
正常版
chance
に返っちま
ball.
う。
Yeah.
でも追い込まれたこの場面、
Yeah.
及川さんは岩泉さんにあげる。
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, they got it. They got it.
No way! Wow!
All right.
They got a 7!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
So now they can do the third set.
殴るぞ。すぐ殴るっていうのやめなよ岩ちゃん。
Thought processes you do.
トビオに何を教えた？すごいむしゃくしゃしてんのにこの感じ。
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
He can detect the aura.
早くやろう。ファイナルセット。
All right.
Okay.
So now we have.
So we have a game.
Now we have a game, like, because you know the 4 episodes or whatever that we got previously.
Oh my
didn't
gosh.
count.
But this
so-
is going to the 3rd set.
Mhm.
I think this is the last game of the season.
I think so.
Because if they do 3 more episodes, they'll go to 25.
Right, but they could just do 24. Like it really could be anywhere from 24 to 26.
That's true. So I'm just going to assume 25 because that's the average generally.
Yeah.
But
who knows?
they could really have this one be a long, drawn out 3rd set, like I was guessing, with a lot of extra points. Like,
Yes.
not going to
yeah,
end
they could
very
definitely do
clean
that.
with the 2-point lead.
But they spent 2 episodes in the previous set, so yes, they could.
Yes,
totally
but then
make
they
it be a
have
long
one of
but-
a recap, kind of a, not a recap, but kind of a cool down after the match and everything like that.
Right.
Which I think is needed, because this episode brought up something really powerful that they haven't done ever in Haikyu yet. They went into the backstory
In the middle of the game.
Of another team's character.
Right. Yeah.
In the middle of the game, I don't think that's really relevant, but I mean,
okay.
it's important, yes. But it brings up something very interesting. Oikawa has a very complex set of emotions and motivations and character quirks that make him instantly above, I would say, the general cut of even Karasuno's team with regards to depth.
Yes, they are very clearly setting him up as like if you didn't get it by now, he is the main sort of antagonist, or at least person we need to beat in season 1. He's the final boss.
Right, but he's also not going anywhere. Right. What I think about this backstory is that they're also setting up his eventual arc, finishing with them getting to face Shiratorizawa again.
Okay.
So
all right.
I know, but what I'm guessing here is that this match could end with Abujisai winning now. There's a very clear story direction in where Abujisai faces Shiratorizawa this year. And they go, into that whole bit there because he's a 3rd year. Right?
That's right. That's true. Oikawa is a third year, and that's where it gets tough because will they show the games with the same kind of detail or at all if Karasuno loses against Abajisai?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either. Yeah. And that's one of the tough things, because if Abajisai loses, then what happens to Oikawa? Like, does he still hang around? Does he end up like helping coach them or something like that, or
that's the thing where it gets a little bit interesting, is they've kind of broken the rule of having arcs that are set up towards kind of specific conclusions and that they will conclude. They've almost said, we are such a good show, we have such a good story here that we're going to have different arcs set up where really only one of them could, finish. Like, only one of these teams is going to face Shiratorizawa.
That's kind of how it has to go, because it's a single elimination. Yeah.
Right, but now Abajisai has a very legitimate reason to face Shiratorizawa.
Oh,
in
absolutely.
Fact, it might even be a little bit stronger than Karasuno's reason.
That was
that's such a crazy thing to do for your kind of rival character setup. So wow.
Like that was one of the things I was actually kind of curious about when they started introducing all the different schools. There seemed to be very personal reasons for Karasuno to face each one, Datako, Abajisai, and the one that Daichi's friend was on, I forget the name. But I was like, Shiratorizawa, they just seem like the god school, but there doesn't seem to be a super personal reason for them to face them, other than the fact that maybe Kageyama didn't get in.
They're the strongest team in the prefecture, and I think that there's some connection to Kageyama again.
Right, because at the very least he wanted to go to that school and he wasn't able to, because he didn't get in or something.
Right,
but
something like that.
I don't know.
But this one gave depth to two characters in which have been generally antagonistic up until this point.
Yep.
And I like that they mirrored, in some ways, Tsukishima, Kageyama, and Oikawa all together. Not really mirrored, but kind of had them have an aspect of each other.
Yeah.
In that Oikawa has the persona, he has the charisma because he spent all this time with his team. He can speak to them in the way that he needs to be a good captain.
And because he learned that lesson earlier, that he needs to do that, and in fact that's one of his main ways of contributing.
Right. Kageyama sucks at that.
Right.
He absolutely is garbage at that. So but he's trying, so he's starting to learn his lesson with regards to that now. And Tsukishima is basically his guinea pig on testing his what he's learned about this, and it's showing to work. And with Tsukishima, what we're seeing with him is that he also has that pride that Suga was talking about when he's on the court, he wants to do the best he can while he's on the court.
Right, and that's natural. Yeah, that's.
But I just want to bring up Tsukishima really quick, and we can move on to the more interesting Kageyama Oikawa stuff. That Tsukishima gave a verbal thing of what it feels like to be, have Kageyama set to him. It's basically saying, try and hit this, you commoner. And he's like, oh, okay, how can I change it? How can I do it differently? And Tsukishima's like, well, I have my own thing. Right. I like to get inside the heads of the other players on the team. That's basically what he said, because he did that with Kenma when he was trying to get inside his head, and it kind of worked, but then he got played back.
Basically by Kageyama doing his own set of whatever he thinks is best, that basically means that their attack is going to be based on Kageyama's flavor, rather than whoever's actually doing the spike.
Which means Tsukishima has no choice in the matter of how he approaches the ball as
even
a player.
If he has some very creative, great ways of going about it, that can get them some good points.
Right, which also, if you think about it from a defensive standpoint for Abajisai, that makes the attacks less predictable.
Exactly.
Because once Oikawa starts to figure out how Kageyama is doing things, then he can just communicate that to his team, and then the defense responds accordingly.
Right, but if he has to keep track of multiple people, then it gets a lot harder.
A lot harder.
Yeah.
So Tsukishima, good stuff. There's been a steady trickle recently of just good things with him. But Oikawa and Kageyama this episode, oh my gosh.
They were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I loved that they were bringing up that whole lesson that Kageyama needed to learn beyond the one he learned in the previous episode. and they did that in parallel with Oikawa learning it in his past.
Right.
Because it's a great way to basically make us see that even though Kageyama is this amazing prodigy setter, there's someone like Oikawa who just has way more experience than him and really is the best like measuring stick because they're so similar as far as their skills and stuff.
Yes, for sure. But also, Oikawa is a different type of person in that Kageyama came onto the court when Oikawa was a third year in junior high and basically got up to near Oikawa's level of skill with way less effort and way less time put in. It's kind of the debate of talent versus skill. I am of the opinion that talent is generally not a thing you really want to focus a lot of your energy on trying to decipher, because I don't really believe it exists.
It's more of just practice that you didn't see happen.
Exactly. Yeah. And Kageyama, however, you come into a sport in particular with natural physical and coordination abilities that you could consider talent, and that's why I think they brought it up here in this episode. But Kageyama came on with the same, statistical ability that Oikawa had basically worked, multiple years to get. And that's why Oikawa kind of dislikes Kageyama so much.
And I love that they addressed that, because they had addressed that previously with Sugawara.
Yes.
But because Sugawara is a very non-confrontational type person, they didn't really get into it. You knew it was there, and they addressed it in some great ways.
Right.
And there were great ways for Suga.
Right. Also, Suga is also a very mature person in that he understands that, it is a team of 6. It's not just...
Yes, absolutely. But either way, even if you realize it's a team of 6, the idea that you could, practice and try really hard and then someone just comes along that just surpasses you, that would
takes
hurt.
a hit to your ego.
Oh, yeah.
But Suga has a very, chill kind of vibe, in that I think that him responding in this way when he sees that Kageyama's happy, it makes him feel at ease, means that he's a little bit more for the team than even someone like Oikawa is.
Right, yes. Because Oikawa isn't inherently interested in the team as much, I would say. Whereas Suga is. Oikawa basically sees the team as another one of the factors of areas where he needs to perform well in helping the team perform well so that they can win the game.
Right. I mean, ultimately, he's an extremely competitive player who takes everything extremely seriously when it comes to the game. And he realized probably at some point earlier on that being like Kageyama ended up being, which I want to talk about in a second, it would not be conducive to the team doing well.
Right.
So he maybe kind of, in a way, he kind of psychopathed his way into becoming a very nice and warm person for the purpose of helping the team do better.
Right.
Which means it's mostly fake, which is why Iwazumi is all calling him on his BS. So innocent and sincere.
Yeah. That was a great line.
Which I understand that makes Oikawa a fantastic antagonist.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily make him a evil character.
Right, exactly.
He's not horrible
He's an antagonist by situation, not by personality.
Yes.
His personality lends to being an effective antagonist, not just in being effective at hindering them plot wise, but of just being that person that can get under their skin and be a little bit unnerving and all of that. Because whenever you have someone that is hyper competent, you want to make sure that they also have at least a nice personality to go along with it, if not just a downright quirky, crazy personality like Oikawa has.
Oikawa is very silly, and I like that Iwazumi, or whoever was narrating that bit, was talking about how kind of silly he's always been. I think it might have been Iwazumi.
I believe so, yeah.
But it makes also the casting of the voice acting for Hisoka perfect.
Yep, it really does.
So
I would not be surprised if that was
oh yeah, it's very intentional. I think that this combination of factors with Oikawa also tells us exactly why Kageyama ended up the way he did.
Right, because he saw Oikawa the way he was maybe before he learned that lesson, and he's like, okay, I need to be like that because that guy's amazing.
Well, yeah. Also, we saw an actual like physical act where Oikawa displayed something where he thought himself above Kageyama.
Yep.
And Kageyama was like, "Sensei, like, please, like, would you just
teach me your ways.
Teach me your ways?"
Yep.
And Kageyama kind of playfully threw him, to the side, just like, no, like, get out of here. I don't wanna. Later on, it's like, I don't want to teach you that. But if you can think about what that kind of does potentially, Kageyama sees someone who's got this towering personality of just, I don't know.
Yeah, they're
ego, I would say.
Well, I would say it goes beyond ego. It's the idea that Oikawa really is, or at least at one point was, and still is to an extent, everything Kageyama wants to be in a setter.
Yes.
Like he sums it up. It's right there, standing in front of him. He's playing against him, and that's why it was such a big deal from him. That's why I wanted to beat him so badly.
Right.
Because that would be a marker saying that I'm there.
Yeah.
He's not, and that's fine. It's a journey.
Yeah, exactly. But who was it that actually first started this rivalry? It was Oikawa.
Yep.
He was the one that says, "I don't know where you're going, Tobio-chan, but I will crush you."
Yep.
And this is something that's been really flipped on its head, in that I assumed all up until this point that it was Kageyama who kind of initiated this rivalry.
Right, because that seems like the natural thing. It's like,
Right.
I want to beat the person that taught me everything I know.
Yeah. The apprentice surpasses the master.
Right.
No,
Circle is
in
now
this case,
complete.
the master was insecure about his own ability, so drove himself into a corner, I would say, trying to be the best that he could. Ended up hurting his team. Ended up hurting his friend. His best friend. Also ended up in a way hurting his student, his apprentice, who just wanted to be like him.
Yep.
But now they've got this really kind of awkward situation, especially depending on who wins this match. Because imagine if Karasuno does win.
Yep.
If Karasuno does win, I don't know what Oikawa will do as kind of a freak out thing, but I think he'll internalize it like way
maybe
a lot, like
but
a ton.
okay, but I don't. Yes, but the way Oikawa seems to function, and this is one of the things that makes him such a great antagonist, is that he'll have these moments where he gets unsettled, right?
Right.
And in some cases that could basically detract from the rule of cool that a character has, right? Because they're getting unsettled. But what makes Oikawa so special is that when he gets unsettled by something, right? He doubles down. He uses that as fuel to triple down and obsessively improve himself in the area that he was made insecure about. So
I can see that, yeah.
So, and that's what makes this complicated, though, because Oikawa is a third year. Daichi and Sugawara and Asahi, third years.
There are some third years that will be done after this game. And we're not ready for really any of them to be done.
Yeah, so...
Jeez, this show is genius. Because they could have made Oikawa as tropey as they come. Like, do you realize, like, how easy it would have been to make him just this overpowered douchebag?
Well, and that's what he seemed like at the beginning.
It's exactly what he seemed like.
And one of the things I want to give them major props for doing is that a lot of times, like, the whole thing of making someone seem to be just a complete asshole, and then like show like, oh no, perspective, that's not actually what they're like. There's more to them than that. They're layered. They have complexity, all that. That's great. A lot of the times, though, it ends up feeling like retconned development, where it's like, okay, all the stuff they did at the beginning, that doesn't actually make sense given their real personality. But you know what? Just go with it because we're not counting on you rewatching it or whatever, and you'll just get to see all the good stuff that we'll do later after we got that crazy reaction from you at the beginning.
Right.
But Oikawa
Oikawa is nothing like that.
So
you could see all of this underneath the surface in every single game that we got to see his personality.
And that's one of the reasons why I think Haikyu will become incredibly rewatchable.
Because
it's not just about the fact that you love watching these characters just do what they do.
Right.
Because a lot of times if the plot isn't anything special, then rewatching, tends to kind of go downhill a little bit.
Sure.
Not all the time, but a lot of the times. But with Oikawa, because we'll basically have this added perspective all those times he's on screen before, this final bit in the season, we'll be like, okay, I can see all those points there where it's like, yeah, all right, that little bit isn't really shining through, but I can tell it's there.
Right. Also with characters like Kageyama, characters like Hinata, and maybe even Tsukishima, we can get to see these beginning stages where they take little pivotal points in their arc and start to shift as a character.
Right.
And if we notice, prior to that, hints of these specific things on rewatch, oh my gosh, this could become one of those shows that I watch at least 5 times all the way through. Because there's something about character interactions, and we will harp on this to death with Haikyu.
We really will. Well, with any show, really.
Yeah, but Haikyu does the blend of something that I think Avatar hit pretty well. The blend between emotional character moments, epic kind of hype character moments, and then goofy character moments.
Sure,
and all 3 of those being compacted within 5 minutes of episode does huge things for getting us invested into the characters. And there were some genuinely hilarious moments coming from characters that we didn't expect. Like Tsukishima, who gave his first dirt face. I gotta say, I'm in love with Haikyuu's dirt faces.
They are pretty amazing.
But this has to be important, right? Because Tsukishima, as far as I know, has never done a dirt face
and he's
before.
usually not very expressive in
He is not very expressive at all, usually. So, what the heck?
Yep.
I'm excited for the third set being the one where all the characters are pulled into the most extreme aspects of their character and end up changing a little bit because of the intense emotional stakes, the actual plot stakes, and then getting to see some more depth from the third years as they realize, this could be
This could be the end. Yeah. Because as we know, after high school, you're done. You're dead.
You're dead.
Life
after high
does
school,
not go
there's
on.
no existence after high school.
Exactly, just an endless void. But back to the whole thing about characters, because Haikyu really does this well, and I think the point you made about it having a mix of hype moments, feelsy moments, and just goofy moments, I think is really an amazing point to bring up, because in the same way that when things are really, really bad, that makes the payoff of them getting better that much more valuable, right? Or things going from being awesome to depths of despair. It's the same way with changing between different positive emotions.
Right.
Because if you go from funny to sad, sometimes it doesn't the transition doesn't really work.
Yeah.
But it gets you into this jostled emotional state where you're just ready for whatever comes next. And Haikyu is a roller coaster ride of so many different emotions. That's
understating it a little bit, because when Haikyu got into this episode, we were having these little moments where they'd shift to characters that were kind of reacting to the actions of the characters on the court. And then when Kageyama starts to make this extra effort, he does the creepy smile, and then he's trying to cheer on, give high fives, give compliments.
Trying being the operative word.
Right. All these little things you want to laugh because they're so hilarious.
But at the same time,
but then there's this other bit where you're like, oh my god, he's actually trying.
Right. He's actually working on himself and putting aside his pride.
Yeah.
And being like, okay, you know what? It's not about me. It's about all of us.
Yeah, and so that
Let's see if we can do this, guys.
Right, so that part with Tsukishima and them having that little conversation, and Tsukishima's being kind of a dick.
Right.
Suga's like, oh, I gotta be mom and stop this conflict from happening, and Kageyama just responds naturally, and and peacefully, and Suki's like, wait, you're being pretty agreeable. Like, are you okay? Are you feeling all right? I love those moments where the characters within the show realize the change within the characters, because while yes, it's over the top and you should trust your audience a little bit to catch on the subtle cues, having the characters actually react in that way allows us as reactors and discussers and just consumers of the story to go, oh my gosh, wait, that tells us actually something about Suki other than just Kageyama. It's not just that Kageyama's changing.
Right.
It's that Suki is actually potentially warming up to Kageyama based on this change, because there was this specific thing about Kageyama that, didn't, it rubbed Suki the wrong way. So
to say the least.
So now that we're getting into that, it's like they're triggering an unlock side quest on Suki's development, while on the main quest of Kageyama's development this episode. And that's just one little conversation in this episode. They did it hugely with Iwazumi and Oikawa, in that the main point of that scene was to give development for Oikawa.
Yes.
And a little bit for Iwazumi, but let's be real, it's mostly about Oikawa.
Right. He was very much the focus of
Iwazumi's character seems to be this, like, emboldenment foil and like, uplifter for Oikawa.
Right, he's the one that keeps Oikawa in check.
Right, and I love that. It's like the wild dog and its handler,
Yep.
But all this development is actually triggering the mini side quest of backstory for Kageyama's development.
Yeah.
And it's so layered and multifaceted.
Oh yeah. And
so great.
And like you said, the whole thing of their reactions being very over the top, that's, in some cases, I might say that would be a bad thing in a story.
Right.
But in this case, absolutely not. Because for one, with the huge cast they have, they kind of have to do it that way, right?
Right. Like Tanaka is a great example.
Exactly. Yes. Tanaka is a fantastic example. Or Nishinoya. All those times that he just bounds into the air, right? Yep. But it's also, it goes to show of how deeply they feel about what's going on right here. Because especially for something like, say, a sport, right? That's something where you get emotionally invested. And if the audience does not initially care about the sport, I do not care about volleyball. I'm starting to because of this show, but originally I didn't care. The fact that they're showing the characters caring so much and they're very much like underlining and highlighting it for us, it is very, very helpful.
Right. It's one of those things where we talk often about how the main character needs to be the one that cares deeply about the world, the existence that they're in. But Haikyu basically just says, nah, we're going to have everyone,
like that.
All the characters care. Every single
in their own
character.
unique ways, but all of them care.
Right. And we're going to spend like the majority of our time showing you how they care, why they care, when they care and when they don't care, what they express themselves with to show that they care. And
in fact, we're just going to use the volleyball itself as just a means to make them care more.
Right. God, Haikyuu's a fantastic show.
It is. I feel like we say that every episode,
I know
but
we
it's
do,
so
but
true.
It's really good. I feel like we're getting spoiled for sports anime in general.
We are.
There can't be anything better than this in terms of sports anime.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where we'll be like, okay, we'll be judging all sports anime we watch after this is like, what percentage of Haikyuu is in here?
28%.
Yeah.
This is a good one. It's like 63%.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Not bad. All right, guys, this was a lot of fun. If you want to watch the next episode reaction to Haikyuu right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. Get on early access, also Discord access where you can chat with us about storytelling and what have you. And yeah, we'll see you there. But until then, Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.